The purpose of this webinar is going to be to go over the changes that's going to be happening with this new exam. So let's go ahead and talk about that in more detail. Before I do that, just the agenda for what's going to happen today, just to know who you're talking to. We're going to talk about the RHIA a little bit, talk about the question types, the differences, and then just study resources and tips for you guys to follow. So this is me, who I am. Just so you guys know, I'm not just some random person talking to you. I do have experience with the RHIA exam. I have RHIA Essential, where I have courses that help people learn more of what they need to know for the exam. I also teach at UT Austin in the Health Informatics program. So definitely have been where you guys are trying to get to and completely understand what you guys are trying to do. So that's the whole point with this slide. This is just more information about the business, so we'll skip all that. Let's talk about what's going to be new. So starting on October the 1st, 2023, the RHIA exam is going to change, okay? And the details of what's going to change is going to be a few things. So the exam used to be 4 hours long. Now the exam is going to, or the amount of time that they're going to give you, rather, is going to be 3 hours and 30 minutes. Same as before, you can still take breaks throughout your time, but they have shortened the time and they have also shortened the amount of questions. So now it's going to only be 150 questions that you guys would be seeing, with 20 of them being pre-tested. Okay, there were a lot more questions. I believe it was 180, if I'm not mistaken. Now it's 150. So they've also decreased the number of questions. It's still the same price, and it's still going to be a computer-based exam. So in those regards, that has not changed. The details. Of course, the amount of questions are also going to change along with the timing, right? So for each domain, and they all have different domain names now, domain 1 is now going to be called Data and Information Governance, and it's going to be 22 to 26 questions. Domain 2 is now titled Compliance with Access, Uses, and Disclosures of Health Information, and that's going to be 20 to 23 questions. Data Analytics and Informatics is now the new title for Domain 3, and it's going to be 30 to 34 questions. Domain 4 is now going to be called Revenue Cycle Management, before it was just Revenue Management, and it's going to be 26 to 30 questions. And then Management and Leadership is the new title for Domain 5, and it's going to have 30 to about 34 questions. Okay, so they changed the names, they changed the types of, or the number of questions within each domain. It's going to be the same concept as before. You're going to have those pre-tested questions. There's going to be about 20, where you will actually not be graded on those questions, but they'll be slipped in there. So you're not really sure if it's a real question or a fake question. So you want to do your best on all questions that you're given. And it's going to be the same traditional multiple choice layout with four answer choices, A, B, C, D, and then you pick the right answer. And like before, you'll still have access to that electronic calculator, and or you can receive one at your testing site if you ask for one. So all those have not changed. Question types are still going to be the same. So if you've never taken the exam ever before, let's go ahead and talk about the question types on the exam. So there are 3 question types. They have something called recall questions, they have application questions, and they have analysis questions. Now, the differences between the two, let's go ahead and talk about that. Recall questions is going to be the type of questions where you are just regurgitating information that you memorized during your study process. So it's going to be being able to pick out a definition if they tell you what something means. Maybe you just happen to know the time frame for a particular retention period, things that are just either you have it or you don't. Okay, so those are recall questions, and they like to have those on the exam. Also, there's something called application questions, and that's where you take that recall information that you know, and then you apply that information, and you're then able to actually answer a brand new question or a brand new scenario that they present to you in the question based on the knowledge that you have. For example, I know what this particular industry or organization is. So based on this entity or this organization, what should the hospital do for this patient? That is you understanding the organization and then applying the information about the organization to then address whatever question that they have. So you have to be able to have critical thinking along with knowing the facts. Okay, so that's application. Then they have analysis, and this is where it's going to be a lot of the graphs, right? The data visualization and being able to do the math concepts, right? So being able to, once again, use critical thinking and putting yourself in a particular scenario and then determining how to answer or address a particular question that they give to you. And this analysis is going to be a big part of the change that is happening. And I'm going to touch on that some more, but just remember analysis, because this is, I think, what is going to be part of this change that is happening in beta. These are just some examples of a recall question, just to understand what I mean. So this is a definition, right? And then they're saying, based on this definition in the question, what is the answer? So you would have to know what each of these mean and then pick the right answer based on just recalling the definition. There's, of course, study tips on how to learn or prepare for these type of questions. You can use flashcards, Quizlets, you can write things out. You can do a call and response with a friend, but that's how you would really be able to address those concepts. Application, this is a example. They give you information, and then from there they say, hey, the chief complaint is what? So you would have to know what the chief complaint is and then find it in this particular scenario to answer the question. That's application. Then analysis. They give you this long scenario, and then they say, based on this scenario, what has actually occurred? So you're going to have to analyze this whole long scenario, and then from there, pick out what incident has actually taken place. So this is just one example where you have to use a lot of critical thinking. And this is the hardest question type to study. And once again, a big piece of how this exam is going to be changing. And so it's going to require you to do things like concept maps, recreation of questions, and understanding and studying graphs. Okay, so why all of you are here, right? What is so different? What is actually going to be changing here? And to summarize it in one word, which I'm going to go ahead and do here for sake of time, the change is going to be management. Okay, so before this change, if you guys had the opportunity to look at the old summaries or the outlines, or rather the task that AHIMA lists out as far as what they want you guys to understand for each domain, you'll notice that there's a word that has not been in the old current version that's being added to the new version. And the common trend here is management. Why? Because it seems like they have noticed that people are memorizing and can list down terms and definitions, but they're not actually able to physically do the job roles at hand. And so they are going to be testing you guys on not just understanding what you need to have when it comes to destroying a legal record, just to give you an example, but they may have it be where you're going to have to actually answer scenarios where you are physically answering a question where it tells you, or where you pick out what is the actual next step that you would take if you were that manager on call for that particular process. Okay, so the key word here is management. Okay, management. And what I'm going to do just to give you guys a better view of what I mean when I say management is I'm going to go ahead and pull up something that all of you should have looked at if you're planning to take this new exam, and that is the RHIA crosswalk. So I'm going to share my screen again. You guys cannot see it, and I totally understand that. I'm just switching gears here. So I'm going to share my screen one more time. Go ahead and do that. Let's see. And I actually want to start here. So for anyone here that was hearing my voice, you should have at some point in your health IT career, if you're trying to take this exam, you have seen this website, right? You've seen AHIMA. Now, if you go to, for those that never been here, if you go to ahima.com, you click here on this certifications and career section, and then you click on the actual certification exam option that's right here, you're going to see that they have all the different exams that are administered by AHIMA. And we're here to focus on the RHIA. When you click on the RHIA, you're going to land on this page. I'm going to scroll to the very bottom of this page. Sorry for your eyes, but you'll notice here that they have a section dedicated to instructing future test takers on what's going to change. And this is the previous outline. This is the new outline. But what I want you guys to really look at in your own time, right, outside of this, is this document right here. And it's called the 2023 Content Crosswalk. And I'm going to go ahead and click on it and open it and make it bigger because it's extremely tiny, right? So here you'll see that they have broken down all the things that I pretty much just told you, right? All of the changes that's going on, the number of questions, etc. But the thing
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we cannot see the website. We see just the management slide.
Okay, thank you for letting me know. Let me switch that up because you guys can see this. Thank you. Let me see. Can you see it now?
The PowerPoint we see. Yeah, now you're scrolling. Summary of 2023 RHIA.
Yeah, you should see summary of 2023 RHIA content outline update. Is that what you saw?
Yes.
Yes, you should be seeing that. So let me go back. So what I'm showing you guys right now is the AHIMA crosswalk. Is that what everyone sees?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay. So yeah, that's where I want to be. Here you'll see that they have broken down all the things that I just mentioned to you guys, right? So I didn't make this up. This is from AHIMA themselves. But what I wanted to show you guys today and kind of focus on is just to prove to you guys what I'm saying about management, right? So let's look at some of these changes together. This is a table where they took each domain and they share what the tasks were before. And then anytime you see this light orange, that means that they have made an edit or a revision to it. So you'll notice here, there's some minor changes here. Instead of just being integrity of health data, it's now integrity of the health record documentation. So some of it is just lingo, right? But you'll notice here that there are some changes here that I want you guys to notice. Look right here. Before, in the current edition or current test, they wanted you guys to be able to just apply knowledge necessary to develop policy and procedure. Now, with this new beta coming out, the task is testing to see whether you have the ability to actually develop policy. So this is management, right? They're not testing you on the details of step one, I'm going to do this, and these are the things that are within a policy. No, they now want you to actually prove that you're able to develop policy and develop procedures for data, documentation, management, etc. So that's just one example. Let me just show you a few more examples of this. This is a minor change. They just added patient portal to this, right? Before they said, once again, you're being able to apply knowledge to advocate. Now they're saying they're going to test you guys on whether or not you would know what to do when it comes to advocating for patients and families. That sounds like what? Scenarios, right? they're going to give you a scenario, and then from there, see which answer you pick that would make the most sense in order to advocate for a patient and for their family. So this is all about actionable things, right? Hands-on testing, being able to apply knowledge. No, they don't want you just to memorize things. They want to see if you can actually, process health information requests according to legal and regulatory standards, right? So they may give you a scenario and say, hey, you are the HIM manager and you're doing X, Y, and Z, and you're at this point in the process. What steps should you take next? That's different than what they would ask you before. Before, they'll maybe ask you, how many years will it take for you to do this? It's more management. It's more workforce-based questions. And that can be scary for someone who has no job experience. But the good news is that your textbook has sections where they actually talk about how to think as a manager. And when you're dealing with this particular thing, how you should behave or what steps you should take. And those are the things that you guys want to add to your studying and to your guides or whatever that you're doing. Add that, because that's where they're going with these exams. Okay. Apply knowledge. No. Now they're going to test to see if you have the ability to actually develop health information request workflows. That means, once again, that analysis, right? A lot more detail, management. That's the big change. That is based on what they're showing us here. If you look through all of these changes that's going on, the big takeaway is management, hands-on. Okay, does anyone have any questions about that? And hopefully you guys can see what I'm seeing, right? Here's another one. Apply knowledge to audit. No. Can you, if we gave you a scenario, would you know how or the steps to take to audit documentation? It's all about how you would behave as an HIM professional, because that's what really matters, right? That is what matters at the end of the day.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when you're saying textbook, are you saying the workbook that they provide for you to study for the test, or you're talking about another textbook?
I'm going to show you. Yep. I'm going to show you exactly what you should study. And nothing has changed. I went ahead and called a HEMA myself because I want to know what's going on, like you do. So I did give them a call. And as of right now, there is no change when it comes to the tools that you're using. And even as I'm looking at the information just for my students, the information's in the book. It's just not something, it's more so about the thought process and how you're going to be studying. That's what's going to change, right? So I will touch on that some more, but there are no new tools, and I'll show you what you should be using. Okay. But yes, good question. Any other question before I move on? Okay. Moving down here, domain 4, and I could do this all day, but before applying knowledge necessary, now it is educate providers on various reimbursement models. That is the task now. And it used to be value-based. Now it's various reimbursement models. So you have to know what those models are and then be able to possibly, if they choose to do this, answer how you would behave or what step you would take or what you would say if you are in a room educating providers. They're normally pretty clear about the idea of what they want you to understand. You just have to study a particular way. So you guys have the tools. It's just how you're studying. That's what they're changing a little bit, because they're hoping you're not just memorizing stuff, because you shouldn't be memorizing stuff. You can't pass that way. Okay. This is the last domain. Same thing. Before knowledge to implement strategy. No. Do you know how to develop, and do you actually know how to implement goals and strategies in a company, including change management? Give you a scenario where there's a need for change management, and they may ask you how to actually, like, what step you should take in order to resolve whatever issue that's currently going on. If you just know what change management means, that's not enough, right? You have to understand the process as a project manager or whatever that you would take in order to execute change management. So that is the big difference. It's one word, management. Okay. So now that I've covered all of that, let me go ahead and go back to the slideshow, and I'm going to answer Maria's question, and someone else asked the same question live. So let me go ahead and address, okay, how do I actually study, right? So I'm going to go ahead and let's go back. Can you guys see Canva again? I hope you can. Anybody can see Canva?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I'm making sure. I'm making sure. Okay. So as far as how you guys should prepare for this new change, it's the same tools. Believe it or not, the books have not changed. Gonna be your HIM Concept, Principles, and Practice book, the 6th edition. With this new change, you definitely want to be sure that you are now using the 6th edition. You may have gotten away with it with this current exam, but with this new one, this beta, I don't see them going back to the 5th edition. So you want to make sure that you're now using that 6th edition, because there are some changes. It's not a lot of changes, but it's enough changes that they felt the need to make a new exam, right? So definitely consider that. Also, this book has not changed. I asked the person on the phone about this as well. And what I received was that as of right now, these questions are still solid. But things have changed, right? So how can it be? It's the same idea, but it's how you're studying, right? Yes, I know that the retention period or the amount of time that I have to do an operative report or whatever is this, but if I was a manager and someone did not do it on time, then what would I do? That's thinking like someone that's managing that issue, right? And that mindset is how you guys want to study for this beta exam. Now, none of us have seen the new questions. None of us know any company, whoever's doing RHIA, there's plenty of us out here, right? But no one can say for sure, hey, this is exactly what's gonna be seen now. So I can't show you actual questions, but based on what they've given us, right, you can get an idea of the mindset of what has changed. And that's where I want you guys to flourish. You go to that AHIMA website, download that crosswalk, and make sure that you're able to not just remember the things that you hopefully been studying before, but also put yourself in those roles as a employee and think about how you would address those documents and artifacts that you're studying about. That is how you want to study for this new beta. How to study, going back. So I answered this a little bit. I tell people just in my course now, there's no course that's going to be able to give you every single detail that you need to know. So as you guys are studying for this beta exam, make sure that you're using online resources, using all of the org websites, the CMSs, the Joint Commission, anything that will be able to give you legitimate, even using a HEMA is a good idea, because a lot of questions that they published or put on the exam is based off of articles that you may actually find in a HEMA, like on a HEMA website. So reading up and being very inquisitive is going to get you one step further to success. So there is no magic sauce to passing. You just have to be really nosy and study and know as much facts as you can about the exam. This website, some of you may have seen it, some of you may have not seen it, but this is a YouTube channel. I'm making new content. It covers a lot of stuff, but I am going to be making new content about the RHIA. So if you have never seen this before, this is another, because there's plenty of sources, but this is another source for RHIA content if you're looking for RHIA content or just health IT content in general. So you can definitely use your phone if you have it, the QRS over there, but subscribe and you'll find some really helpful content. And like I said, there'll be some new content coming out, especially with this new exam coming out October the 1st. All right. So short and sweet, not here to take your time, right? We're busy people. But does anyone have any questions for me about what I just covered? Short and sweet.
Can I ask you one question, please? A request, actually. In between, we were not able to see the AHIMA website when you were showing. We went to canva.com. Could you please show us how to get into the crosswalk, please?
Yeah, for sure. Let me do that. While I'm doing that, does anyone else have any other questions?
I have a question about the changes. Since now the type of question it's a different way, do you know, since they want to know how we would think, they will give like fill in, or it's gonna be anyway multiple choice?
Everything is multiple choice. That has not changed. There'll be no essays, nothing like that. It's still A, B, C, D.
Got it. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you know if, since it's going to be in beta, do you know if they're going to delay when the test results will be available if the person passes?
It will be delayed, and they mentioned that on the website as well, that the results will be delayed. So you know what, I'm going to just pull up AHIMA really quickly, just the website itself. And I haven't shared my screen yet. I get there. So I'm going to just walk you guys through how to navigate this AHIMA situation. Can you guys share, for those that need this? If you don't need it, that's it. It's short and sweet. But this is AHIMA. I just typed in AHIMA. I'm going to click on AHIMA home here. So this is the home. I'm going to go to certifications and careers, which is here. I'm going to go down to where it says certification exams. Going to click on that. You'll see all these different exams. We're going to go here to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to go here to where it says RHIA. And I'm going to scroll, and you'll see right here, just to answer Maria's question, right? It says it right here. The release will be up to 10 weeks. They talk about how long it'll take. They will just email you. So they do cover that question here. And then as far as where that crosswalk is, I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. Sorry for your eyes, guys. Right here. So this is this is the current exam outline. The future one, this starting October the 1st. And this is the crosswalk that I showed you guys right here. All of you should be looking at this. If you're taking your exam, this should be what you're looking at. You should be on here figuring out what to do. And another recommendation that I'll give out here is, as you're studying, if you're not really sure like where to go to find this information in your textbook, use your index. And I have a video about the importance of the index on my channel and just how to use the index. But use your index, right? For example, where is it? This one here, they're now adding the patient portal to this domain. If you have no idea what a patient portal is, or you don't know how to manage one, then go to your index, find the word patient portal, and it will tell you what page number the information is on. And then read up on the things that you need to read up on, right? So that's what I would recommend to you guys. And for anyone that's making a course for the RHIA, the new whatever, there's no other true source for us to start from than this. So I don't care which course you take, whatever you do, we're all using the same source of truth, which is going to be this document right here. Okay, so there is no secret sauce, like I said. Okay? Hopefully that helped.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all I had. If there's no more questions, you guys are free to enjoy your Thursdays and your weekend. And thank you guys for joining. I hope that helped.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you very much. That was helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.